Ocarina of Time is a great game, showing Zelda's first leap into 3D. Now, this had a problem with it, mainly because at first, they didn't really know how to actually make the game. At one point, someone said to make it similar to Super Mario 64, where Link is in a castle, and just like Mario, he would use portals in the form of paintings to go to world fighting evil. Now I'm glad that was not the case. The game is open world for both a good and a bad reason. Now, is this a good game for the first jump into 3D? Well, let's find out. This is my review of The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. In this strange forest called the Kokiri Forest lives a tribe of people called the Kokiri. And in this forest lives this incarnation of Link. The tribe of the Kokiri, they have fairy companions, but Link doesn't have one until Navi shows up. And now, before I continue, Navi, Tattle, and Vi, I never really got the hate behind them because they can give some good tips on how to fight enemies and help you remind you of stuff. Yes, they can get annoying, but they're still helpful. Well, anyway, Link is summoned to the Guardian of the Forest, the Great Deku Tree. You need to get a sword and shield first because this asshole won't let you pass unless you have them. Once you meet the Deku Tree, it's not for a good reason at all, because he has a curse placed on him, and he tasks Link in trying to break the curse before he dies. Upon lifting the curse, it was too late. The Deku Tree was going to die no matter what. He tells us who did this, and obviously it's Ganon. But this is the first incarnation of Ganon that we see his human form, Ganondorf. Link goes to Hyrule Castle and in Metal Gear fashion meets this incarnation of Zelda, but not before a heartfelt goodbye with Saria. Zelda tells Link that she saw him in her dreams and tells him some more information about Ganondorf. She tasks Link with getting the other gems from the Goron and Zora tribes. These gems are just like the gem the Deku Tree gave Link before dying, and they're also the key to unlocking the Sacred Realm where Zelda wants to get to before Ganon does, because the Triforce is there. Though that was a big mistake, because unlocking the Sacred Realm, Ganon gets a Triforce. So that was kind of a fuck up. But that doesn't matter because the Blade of Evil's Bane is back. And when Link pulls the blade, he time travels 7 years into the future. God, I hate these plots. Don't expect me to go easy on Majora's Mask's story because of that. If I ever review Back to the Future, it's not going to be pretty with that one either. Especially with that finding an incest part. But anyways, if you want to blame anything for my hate of time travel, blame Sonic Next Gen. That's all I'm going to say about that. Anyways, getting back on track, he meets the Sage of Light, Rauru, and is told that Ganon basically fucked shit up big time. And you can see that as soon as you go into the castle town, because Redeads fill the streets. Link must now find the rest of the sages and gain their medals to access Ganon's castle. Now, the story is fine, but I hate the time travel part thrown in. And I was originally gonna say why I hate this in Majora's Mask, but I'll say it here. Paradox. Okay, can't really explain paradoxes that well, but basically, say you want to go back in time to rob a bank. You need cash, and once you go back in time, you get the cash, come back, you will need no need for that cash in the present, so you don't go back in time to grab the cash. Paradoxes are complicated, and I hate them so much. And going with Power Rangers Dino Charge, I was enjoying it not a lot, it was miles better. beyond fucking Megaforce, that's for damn sure. But as soon as it got to the end, oh god, they fucked so much up in that ending. I mean, I'm glad to see a freaking dinosaur zoo, but you fucked your timeline up! And that's what Link kind of does in this and Majora's Mask. Kind of fucks with the timeline. But then again, the story is fine, but I just can't shake the time travel part to it. Here's something I'm barely gonna do. Talk about characters. Link is a total blank slate, and I would want a little more emotion out of him. Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and Skyward Sword, Link in those games are more expressive than this fuck. While I'm fighting the final boss, I'm terrified. Link just doesn't compute what's going on. He's a fucking robot that does not know how to compute anything that happens in this world. For the first 3D Zelda game, Link controls well. He has a targeting system, which by holding down Z or L, depending on what version you're playing, you will have Link walk onto an enemy that's close by to make combat easier. This can help with keeping track of where your enemies are. I do have one problem, and that comes down with using the slingshot or bow. They put you in a weird first-person view with no targeting reticle or crosshairs for aiming. When I use a bow, it's mostly in combat where I can lock on. I don't do side quests that much, and when I attempted this one, I kept failing because no aiming sight. What the fuck? New to the Zelda series are spells. Din's Fire, Nehru's Wisdom, and Feore's Wind. These are great spells to have, especially Nehru's Wisdom, because fuck Iron Knuckles! What this spell does is basically gives you a protective shield that blocks all attacks that hits you. Iron Knuckles hits you for a fuck ton of damage, even if you have the defense upgrade. Din's Fire is a gigantic fireball that basically engulfs anything in fire. And Feore's Wind is a teleportation spell that helps a lot for backtracking. Just use it once in an area you want to go back to, and travel throughout in the dungeon, and use the spell again to teleport to where you set up the marker. Now, as I said, I don't really do side quests, but the one I always do for a playthrough is a side quest to get the other sword for the adult Link. This deals him more damage, and really helps with final boss, dishing out some extra damage to make the fight go a lot quicker. Hyrule is way too big for the first 3D entry in the Zelda series. When you're young Link, all you're doing is Hyrule Field is side jumping. You can always learn Epona Song as young Link, but you can't use it until you're adult Link. You can unlock Epona the Horse to ride around with Hyrule with ease, and also as adult Link, you can learn special songs for the Ocarina that will allow you to teleport to key locations at both ages. Speaking of the Ocarina songs, I played this on the Virtual Console, and when it comes down to the Ocarina, everything works out. Using the C-Stick to play Ocarina songs have never failed me at all. I've watched some reviews that they said when using the Ocarina on the Virtual Console it failed at some points. But I find it weird because I never had a problem with the Ocarina on the Virtual Console ports. If I played this on the GameCube, I don't think I would have a problem with it at all as well. The difference in the N64/GameCube and Wii ports and the 3DS port is just pressing buttons to play the instrument. Also on the 3DS port, you can aim with the 3DS gyroscope. You can also assign more equipment to extra buttons on the 3DS touchscreen. Just another bonus with that version of this game is that, well, you don't need to equip the Ocarina anymore. Just tap the Ocarina button on the touchscreen and play the song you need to progress. In the GameCube port, you have the new version of the game that has redesigned dungeons. And everything delivers more damage. Now, in the 3DS port, everything is flipped. And that's something I don't get. But apparently it does make the game harder. And I can definitely see that. Because when it comes down to Twilight Princess, the reason why I can't play the Wii U or GameCube ports of the game is that, well, in the Wii version, for whatever fucking reason, the whole game is mirrored. Also, speaking of dungeons, the only reason why I'm not saying anything bad about the water dungeon is for the fact I heard that it's a hard dungeon, so I made damn sure to have a guide or walkthrough or LP whatever on hand to easily fucking beat it. And with that said, shout out to YouTube user Nintendo Capri-san. I used this Let's Play to help me out with this fucking dungeon. Graphically speaking, for the N64 this game looks great, though I don't think it aged that well. I think it looks a little murky, and this goes same for Majora's Mask, but for Majora's Mask it has a heck of a lot more colors. Now I'm not saying a style like this can't work, but looking at it now, it just looks ugly. When it was ported on the 3DS, it looks better. Nicer, cleaner, and brighter. The music is kind of bland. The only thing I can really remember is the Ocarina songs, boss, and mini-boss themes. Everything else is just atmospheric and bland as all hell. So, now taking into account the story, characters, graphics, and sound, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, gets an 8 out of 10. Now, this is a fun title in the Zelda series, but goddamn this Hyrule is too fucking big. The rest of the game is fun, besides the music being bland for the most part. Some of the weapons not having a crosshairs is a problem for me, and having time travel being part of the plot is just ugh. Link controls fine in a 3D space, and I think we'll get better in the future games, though targeting can screw you over at times, like I was double for this fucking boss in the Wind Waker. But either way, the 3DS port has great additional features that make that version of the game a little more accessible and easier to play. At this point in time, Ocarina of Time is available on the N64, GameCube, Wii, 3DS, and Wii U.